Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Vikings Vent Line here. Welcome to preseason football. It's finally here. Vikings Vent Line, though, still lives on as we're getting closer and closer to the regular season. So if you have wanted to be on this show, if you've had thoughts about the Vikings all offseason, you've been waiting to unleash them, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get you on this show. You can hit me up. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. Send me an email through there. Would love to get you scheduled on for one of these future episodes. Of course, once the regular season starts, we'll have the regular edition with Mackie, Judd, and myself. We'll bring on as many fans as possible immediately after every single Vikings game, starting with Monday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. So appreciate you guys. This is one of the most fun shows we do, obviously, throughout the year. The off-season edition is still a fun time for me, too, because I get to meet and talk to many Vikings fans. So hit me up if you want to be on the show. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. A shout-out, too, to Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They made the trip out to my place here in St. Paul. They took a look at this old, disgusting, dirty air conditioning unit that had not been serviced in quite some time. We've only been living in this house for a few months, and as you're seeing on the YouTube screen, very dusty, very gross. Luckily, my guy Cameron took care of it. So if you need to get your air conditioning service, if you've been delaying doing that task, hit up Standard Heating. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you. You don't want it looking like this, which is my air conditioning unit. You want it to be nice and cleaned up for you. So go contact Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for all those HVAC service needs. All right, let's get our guys in here. Let's get Brooks. Let's get Craig in here on Vikings Vent Line. Brooks wearing his Todd Stussy jersey, which he shared with me before the show. You bought that right before the 1998 season, correct?
That is correct. I called in to order it the old-fashioned way, and they had to say, I hope you know how to spell Stussy. And luckily I did.
Yeah, luckily that worked out pretty well there for you. Craig, you might be having some technical difficulties. I think he's trying to get his speakers figured out there. Craig's across the pond in the United Kingdom. You might want to just come back out of the room, Craig, if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I understand. Here's what I'll do here, actually. I think Craig, try to help him out. In the meantime, me and Brooks will talk some Vikings here with you on Vikings Vent Line. So, Brooks, how many wins do you have for the Vikings this season? What do you have written down? How far do you think this team can go? What is your thoughts here on this upcoming year for the Vikings?
Yeah, I see the team this year at right about 11 wins. I think 14 is obviously hard to replicate, and the division is going to be strong again, maybe even stronger if the Bears do come along and are a better team. So I think less wins, 11, but I think we'll be a better team come playoff time and ready to win in the playoffs.
Do you think they win the North? Is it a wild card team for you right now? What do you think?
I think ultimately it's a wild card. I don't think Detroit's going to win 15 this year like they did last year either, but I think it'll be a lot of teams around that 11, 12 win mark.
Yeah.
So maybe not winning the North, might be in the mix, but ready to go in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably the best division in football, really deep. You got three teams that I think could all win it. The Bears, I guess we'll see, but it's a very deep division this year in football. Craig, do you got us now? Okay, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All good. I was just asking Brooks the same question. I'll throw to you here. How many games do you think the Vikings win in 2025? And do you think they get a playoff win? How far do you think this team can go in 2025?
I mean, my gut feeling is 11. I think 11's doable. I think maybe there's that sort of few games in the middle. I think it's the Eagles, Chargers, and Lions, it's a tough three. If they can pinch one of those, then maybe 12. I think being at home the last two games is a bonus to finish strong. I can only see that as being a good thing. I mean, it has to be one playoff win. I think there's lots of reasons why I think they've got to get that. I think for the coaching and the front office to get that sort of, to in a way have that sort of weight lifted off their shoulders. And then I think from there, once that pressure's off, I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah. If they can get the first playoff win, KOC has not been able to deliver on that. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy is going to have a lot of people obviously looking at him and seeing what type of quarterback he can be leading this team. Yeah, I feel like 10, 11 wins is the realistic number. Anything north of that, I mean, wow, even better, because they do have a pretty tough schedule. It's going to be an interesting year to watch, and hopefully, yeah, they can maybe retake the North. You know, the Lions are still going to be good. Packers, I think, are still going to be pretty good. So they can win double-digit games, hopefully secure a home playoff game this time. I know they had the one a few years back, and last year they ended up having to play a neutral site game. But if they can win the division, that at least does guarantee you one and potentially maybe even multiple playoff games. Brooks, what would you like the Vikings to improve on? What do you want them to be better at? You know, we've seen Kevin O'Connell have Kirk Cousins, and he did a great job with Sam Darnold. We have a sample size of what we've seen from KOC here in 3 years. What would you like to see the Vikings be better at this season with Kevin O'Connell as the head coach?
Yeah, I think the big thing is what everybody's been talking about this offseason is the running game. I mean, I know there was an effort to get better at that last year, but it was in some ways, but in the short yardage, obviously it was a debacle, and we were 19th in yardage overall and 23rd in yards per carry. So that's got to improve. They're not going to be the top rushing team in the league by any means, but I think KOC will be ready to utilize the run game more to set up play action even more, which he loves. So, and then I think special teams. I think punting. I think we need to take advantage of our defense and stick teams back and get some more return yards. We've gotten really nothing on punt returns or kickoff returns the last couple of years, and I think we just need to play that field position and eke out all those extra yards where we can.
Yeah, it's a three-phase game, and people forget about special teams at some point. Sometimes I think it's okay to just not be, or to be conservative and not take extra risk, and don't be doing things you shouldn't be doing on special teams. You know, fair catch the ball, okay, but at the end of the day, it can also be a negative for you. And if you can't flip the field and you are really costing yourself with field position and not having that facet in your game to create something special with a punt return or a kick return, it does limit you. And it's just a nice little added boost. And it's something I think we sometimes just take for granted in football because it's sometimes silly with kickers and punters. I get it. I'm guilty of definitely making fun of them at sometimes too. But it is an area that the Vikings have not been great at the last few years. And it's an easy one, I think, to potentially be better at in 2025. Craig, how about you, though? And also, Craig, how long have you been a Vikings fan? When did you discover being a Vikings fan across the pond there?
I mean, relatively recent in the last few years. It's just when it was my girlfriend that introduced me to American football, and we sort of found a mutual interest in it. Unfortunately, not the same teams, but that would be easy, wouldn't it? So we gives us something to argue about. But there's quite a big Vikings following in the UK. I mean, it wasn't what drove me to it. I mean, I don't know if I could say what attracted me specifically. It just, they were the team that stood out, and it just went from there. And it just, everything about the team and the fans and things like Purple Daily and stuff, it just really sucked me in, and I'm hooked. So hard to come back from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've watched a little bit of Vikings football. Are there areas or certain things that you want to see the team be better at this season with Kevin O'Connell and J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% the running game, isn't it? I mean, if it's the frustration of when you're in the red zone and other teams are pushing it in, and it just seems that inability to get over the line just really holds them back. I think the signing of Jordan Mason's it's sort of gone under the radar a bit, really, because he was really good for a time last year, and that to sort of just happen and be not as spoken about as I maybe think it should be, I think hopefully will come good. And with him and Aaron Jones, I think that would be a great combination. I'm looking forward to seeing the difference with that this year. I think that's really going to make a push in the right direction.
Yeah, there was talk if the Vikings were either going to go find another free agent running back, maybe they draft one early in this year, and instead they kind of knocked that off the board early by trading for Jordan Mason, who was a very productive back when playing for Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. He gives them a different look too. He's kind of your more traditional bruising, straightforward, can get some tough yards type of running back, which this team has also lacked for a long time, probably since prime Dalvin Cook. So yeah, the running game I think is at everyone's top of mind. Brooks, I liked your special teams one too because it's forgotten about. And it does feel like, again, just to harp on the running game, it's the last facet. It's the last thing that we're kind of waiting for to see if Kevin O'Connell can figure out how to solve a Rubik's Cube or just get productivity from an area of the game where he hasn't really prioritized. Even if you look during his years as the head coach of the Vikings, his years as an offensive coordinator with LA and Washington, just not really a thing that Kevin O'Connell led offenses do is effectively and not even effectively, but going at running the football down your throat. They just don't do that. So I think Mason and Jones give them that luxury. Having a first-year starting quarterback in J.J. McCarthy also, I think there'll be a heavy leaning on the run game to make life easier for him and for everyone else in the offense. Brooks, you and I were talking off mic. You said you're a former offensive lineman from your back in the day. Does preseason football excite you, though? I know this is sometimes maybe even a taboo subject. I think at first we see it. We're going to see it on Saturday. It'll be great. But at the end of the day, it's like it's a tease because it's not really the full stuff and the starters aren't in there. I guess, does preseason football excite you, though?
It does because it's the first chance to get to see what the new team is going to look like. And I'll admit to being a little more, I understand why they do it, but I liked kind of the old days thing where you kind of knew what was going to happen in the preseason a bit, where it would be like they're talking about this week, the starters for maybe a series, and then the next game they'd play a little more, and you'd get to one preseason game, most recently in that third, where they'd actually play a significant amount. I mean, I really like that because you get to see the frontline guys more. I get why they don't do it as much, but still, I like to see the cohesion because being an old offensive lineman, those things, it isn't just your talent and what you are individually. You got to be able to meld together in a unit and be able to know what each other are thinking and keep all the calls and everything straight. So I like to see just the progression of that and what the next guys are going to be that might be the guys next year or the year after.
Yeah. Yeah, the offensive line continuity, chemistry is important there. That Darisaw is probably going to be, we'll figure out closer to the start of the season if he's indeed going to be ready to go. Ryan Kelly's been a little banged up this last week at training camp, and as much as I'm glad the Vikings poured resources in free agency to fix that offensive line, and I do think it's better. Brooks brings up an excellent point that you need the continuity and the time spent together to get used to everything. So hopefully that's not too much of a hurdle by the time the regular season opens. But yeah, it can still be something in the preseason that you can kind of knock down. Craig, does preseason football excite you as you're kind of a newish football fan? Do you still get excited for it?
Completely, yeah. I mean, it's a good, it's when preseason comes around, the season's on the doorstep, and that's always more than welcome. I think it seems more of an extension of practice that winning isn't the priority. It's about sort of seeing some of the second string, third string players, what they can do, what they bring. I'm all for that. I mean, I'm quite. I'd be quite eager to see what Max Brosma can do. I think I've heard good things on Purple Daily in particular about what he's doing. I don't think he's obviously going to be in contention for any of the starting places this year, but to see what he can do and hopefully see if he can get himself a spot on the practice squad would be really, really interesting. I think that would be a good move if they can keep him around and see where he goes. Yeah, it's things like that. You don't see that in the normal season. So to experience that, I mean, obviously it's difficult in my case from a distance. You can absorb as much as you can from afar, but it gives you that sort of insight that you probably don't get on a daily basis. So yeah, it's for sure an exciting watch.
Yeah. I think the first one's always exciting. I think by the third game, where at that point most rosters are set. There's some guys that are trying to vie for those last 53 spots, or spots on the 53, I should say. But at that point, you're ready for the regular season, and we're excited to get the actual football underway. And yeah, man, it is football. So at the end of the day, we haven't watched a football game in 6 months by the time preseason football is now rolling out. And it's still exciting times, and especially to see what JJ McCarthy can do. Any other final takes, Craig, going into the season? Any shout outs too? I love to give fans an opportunity to give some shout outs here on Vikings Vent Line. What do you got?
A couple of thoughts. Obviously the announcement of Jordan Addison's suspension, we knew it was coming. It's been coming for a year. I'd see that as possibly in the short term bad, but longer term, if he comes back with a point to prove, I have a good feeling that he might come back to sort of re-establish himself and really make up for the first 3 games. The timing of that's fortuitous because for me, I'm obviously planning to watch the games over here. So it'll be good to see him in the flesh, fresh and ready to go. And I could see him having, I'd like to think if he can get to 1,000, 1,100 yards in the 14 games, that would be fantastic. And see where it goes from there. I think it's a trying to turn a bad thing good, maybe in my case, but I hope that sort of gives him the opportunity to do something positive off the back of something not so good.
Yeah, it hopefully can be a learning opportunity for him. And the Vikings might be a little short without him, which is a problem. They did win some games last year when he was banged up and injured, so that was a good sign. They've proved that they can win games without him, but he just is such a dynamic wide receiver. And Justin Jefferson's going to be covered. Jordan Addison, who's not just some guy, he's legitimately a very good number 2 wide receiver, maybe even a number 1 on some other teams. He gets to feast on those opportunities, and hopefully the Vikings can kind of be okay.
That's the worry. I do. He could be wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams, and the fact is whether they can keep him around beyond the end of his contract. I selfishly hope he does. My newborn son's middle name is Addison, so I'm hoping that's not a mistake in the long run. So we'll see. Won't we? In 2 years? I think end of 27.
Yeah.
If they take the option, so that'll be interesting. I hope I haven't got to change his name when he's 3. So
that's awesome. Hey, Brooks, any other last takes for you? Any shout outs here on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, takes. I just think it's going to be super fun to watch this group get going. I want to see JJ McCarthy on the field. I think he's going to do just fine, but there's going to be some ups and downs. The offensive line needs to be healthy and get their cohesion together. So I'm really glad that we have this defense that seems built to really be even better than last year. I think we're going to need that, and the offense hopefully can do enough to just not put the defense in terrible spots while they're figuring it out. And I think it'll be a really fun season.
Yeah. Yeah, going to be a blast, guys.
I like number 9 quarterbacks too, because my first quarterback that I watched religiously or all the time is Tommy Kramer. So number 9 from back in the 80s. And so it's fun to see another guy wearing that number. And I think JJ's got a little fire like Tommy does.
Yeah, he's he definitely commands the huddle, and I'm just excited, man. We've had to wait an extra year, and Darnold had a all-encompassing a good season last year for the Vikings. I know the ending was definitely sour, but now we get to see it. The Vikings don't really draft quarterbacks in the first round early, and we get to enter a new era, and hopefully it's mostly good. There will be some rocky roads here and there, but very excited to see what he can do. Brooks, Craig, thank you so much for coming on Vikings Vent Line. Appreciate you guys. Come on again. Yeah, you're okay. You rebounded. You're okay. There was a false start, and we made up for it. We still got the first down, and we marched down and scored. So all good, man. Appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment. Mackie and Judd will recap the first preseason game on Sunday. We'll be talking at you soon.